Well, France 24's Luke Shrago is in Armenia following the election for us. We can cross over to him now. Luke, we're hearing there that all votes have now been counted and Pashinyan has won. But give us an idea of how close are those results? You know, what percentage of the parliamentary pie are the parties taking?
The results are in, and what it seems is that they have followed a trend that seems to have been established very early on in the night as the counting went forward. According to the Armenian Electoral Commission, 53.92 for Nikol Pashinyan's civil contract party, with just over 21% for Robert Kacharyan's Armenia Alliance. Now that's interesting because Nikol Pashinyan seems to have carried the region, not just Yerevan, the capital city, but the Syunik region as well. Now both of those were thought to be sort of strong areas for Robert Kacharyan. I'd remind you that when Nikol Pashinyan was campaigning, he went down to the Syunik region. It's the border region that borders the border on Iran. It's where the Megri corridor should go from linking Azerbaijan's exclave of Nakhichevan to Azerbaijan through Armenian territory. So they've been very, very wary about the security issues down there. And now when Nikol Pashinyan went to visit during the campaigning, they actually barred the routes trying to prevent him from getting it down. So it is interesting to see that he seems to have carried that region. Now, the only other party that got through, just barely scraping over the 5% threshold needed to sit in Parliament, is former President Serge Sargsyan with the I Have Honour party. He came in with 5.03%. For political blocs and alliances, a threshold of 7% is needed, and none of the other three alliances made it in. And all of those 20 other parties not even making it close to 5% at this time. Now, that still has to be qualified. Barely half the electorate voted. It's still somewhat low, though somewhat a little bit higher than may have been expected on a turnout of 49.4%.
Luke, there had been accusations of fraud during this electoral process. What evidence is there of that?
Yes, it's hardly surprising that these accusations of fraud have really multiplied. You just have to take a look at the tone of the campaign, this poisonous tone, this mudslinging from both sides and the threats of political reprisals. Even on Saturday, early on, we saw accusations of what were being called irregularities multiplying very quickly across social media. Now, we've been very careful to speak to the observers of the election here. There are 500 international observers, including from the OSCE, and 8,000 local observers keeping an eye on things, and we were speaking to them not just on Saturday but on Sunday morning and on the Monday morning as well, and they had said they had not seen anything in the way of fraud. Analysts as well saying even into the night on Saturday that reports of even smaller irregularities were not likely to affect the result at all. So the question really now is whether Robert Kacharyan will accept that finding or not.
It really does sound in many ways, Luke, like this parliamentary race came down to, well, two men, even more than two parties. What have voters been saying to you about what they're looking for from this vote?
Now, people have been speaking about their hopes for the future, their concerns over the corruption that has been somewhat ingrained here in previous years, and not to mention, of course, the security situation, as well as their hope for a dignified future. Now, at least one of those concerns has now been allayed. As they've turned away from Robert Kacharyan, the former president who was mired in corruption scandals and allegations and accusations, turning away from him, a representative of the old administration. Now, it seems likely that concerns are most definitely going to turn towards security. Of course, Nikol Pashinyan is still the man who lost the war in Nagorno-Karabakh, and even if he carried what was thought to have been strong regions for Robert Kacharyan, the question is what he's going to do now, faced with an emboldened Azerbaijan that's been sending its troops over the border into sovereign Armenian territory for weeks as border demarcation disputes continue onwards. Nikol Pashinyan may have strengthened his mandate, but his real job is still ahead, not just in facing Azerbaijan, but reuniting a somewhat divided country.
Luke Shrago in Yerevan, Armenia, thanks very much for that.